Okay, I want to start by thanking Jim, who can't be here today, but they've really saved our butt in the last few hours on this presentation. Have you ever tipped somebody out of a wheelchair? That's how I started my talk yesterday, because I've done it 4 times to my girlfriend, and she will not let me forget it. So, naturally, I wanted a way to... I know the end of my road is dangerous, I know certain parts are, but I wish in a way that when I go to somewhere new, I don't look like an idiot. But then, that's how it started, and then, you know, other people pointed out other people have needs, and then we've built up with the wide knowledge here, this wide breadth of different needs people will have, which can stop them from entirely going outside or just limit their ability to go outside.
So we ended up taking a needs-based approach. We didn't really care about diagnosis, we cared about what you struggled with. So if you are overwhelmed by visual input, that may mean that crowded areas are an area of danger or of difficulty for you. So we used tags on the map based on the difficulty you encounter. So visual sensitivity flags you as crowds, and crowded roads become difficult. So, and I'd like to introduce Tristan. Tristan is a wheelchair user who's also autistic, and they struggle with some virtual sensitivity, some navigation issues when they're overwhelmed at certain times, and also generally use the wheelchair. And as we can see, the related tags, which are an area of difficulty, there's also areas we want to highlight that are good routes for them to take. And then we use our wonderful design.
So we set about looking at resources and sort of the data that we could use to build an app to help users. So we found out that there's quite a lot of open source information. OpenStreetMaps has quite a lot of accessibility tags around like curb heights, street lights for lighting. Obviously you can get traffic, weather. We're looking at a few things, and we built a few of those things into a working prototype that I'm going to share with you. The user starts off seeing a nice big map.
We do the tag audio. As you can see, you're using it as it's coming through. And adapting the real in real time.
Yeah, that's fine. So you can see that there's a route being built up, and based on obstacles, based on the user's needs, the route adapts automatically. So for a visually sensitive person, there's some tags on the street there about loudness, crowded places there, so it diverts them around. For someone that's got wheelchair access problems, we've actually overlaid OpenStreetMap data about high curves, so you can see those warning signs. And yeah, the idea is that using this app, you might have different profiles with different needs, and it'll help you get around the city.
So, last final point from me is to just talk about what the future is after this. We would want to make sure we also had lots of user involvement, putting input in, and that would involve community engagement to map your community.
We went for a walk yesterday afternoon, and they were out trying to observe what some of the things might be and how they would match up to their map as well. So good field work. Thank you. Any questions?
I was just, who would put the accessibility tags? Is it by the users themselves or by the people who govern the map?
So the idea was we'd pull in some things that are from standardly available data.
Yeah.
Users could upload their own, and there would be both pictures and text that could be mapped to those tags. But then we were talking about encouraging communities to take some pride in mapping their community. So it's not just someone who's got a particular need who maps it, but you might choose to go in through your community for others to be able to access it.
And maybe report the things to get fixed too.
Yes.
We'd like to do it
Yeah, so actually, that was one I found that when you're looking on OpenStreetMap's data and just actually look for any nodes that a wheelchair no, so there's someone who's explicitly said this isn't accessible, the highest facility that came up was toilets. So you can see around Cardiff where they've specifically said these toilets are not accessible. So
I bet you could find ones that are.
and then the opposite, exactly.
And they get times because.
Yeah.
The key thing is that community involvement that we did, because a lot of the sources are written and out of date as well, so we need to make sure that we're constantly having it with as wide range of users as we can be.
But you did touch on something there, so with temporal issues, so it does care about what time of day it's working on.
There's 3 people at the back, and I'm going to go for you because you haven't asked before.
Yeah, you were using OpenStreetMap data there. When you're sort of encouraging people to add data, are you sort of encouraging people to add it to OpenStreetMap?
Yeah, exactly. And there's actually existing apps. There's a few that we looked at, like Complete Street, that they let you add stuff, but then you can't get anything out of it. So that's what our app is sort of solving, is that there are things that are holding the data, and now it's just like making it useful.
We could also have slightly less organised data.
Well done. Sorry.